Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of RevOps Demos That Don't Suck. I am Matthew Bohm, CEO and co-founder of RevOps Co-op. For those of you that don't know, RevOps Co-op is a global community of 10,000 plus folks from all around the globe who are passionate about revenue operations. And in our RevOps Demo That Don't Suck series, we take demos with incredible RevOps products so that you don't have to, so that we can kind of get the lowdown on the company, the product, how they help, and provide you all with some intel and information on all the amazing RevOps technology and solutions that are out there. And so today I'm with Ike Shepardson, who is a solutions engineer over at Rattle. And Rattle is, I'll say, describes themselves as a GPS for your go-to-market team. I'm going to stop there because Ike's going to get into a lot of what that means. But Ike, before I go any further, want to turn it over to you to just give us maybe another, quick spiel on kind of Rattle, one or two liner on who you guys are, what you do, and then give us a quick introduction on yourself, anything on the professional side that you want to add. But then also I like to kind of pepper in, fun, interesting personal facts. So would love to hear kind of one interesting kind of personal fact that you can share with the audience, non-RevOps related, non-work related as well.
Well, yeah, Matt, great to meet you, and I'm eager to speak to you today about Rattle. But yeah, I'm the solution engineer at Rattle, and we're a process automation hub for modern revenue teams. And what that means is that we take your enterprise system of record and connect it to your enterprise system of engagement. Typically, that's like Salesforce and Slacker teams, and we were able to bring automation and documentation and adherence together in a single platform. Professionally, I come from the operations and e-learning space. So I've spent a lot of time there with companies who are speaking to RevOps and enablement professionals. And personally, fun fact about me is that I'm a philosopher of religion, and I teach adjunct courses at a nearby college, and I've written a couple of books on philosophy and theology.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is, whether it's kind of the demos that we're doing or we do a lot of panel discussions, digital events. We have had one other person mention that they're a published author, but it has not been related to philosophy or theology. It's been published author for a short book on poetry, which is available on Amazon. You all are way smarter than me. I don't write. No one would want to read anything that I would, and I'm definitely not smart enough to do any of that stuff. So that's awesome to hear. But yeah, thanks for kind of joining us, Ike, and giving us the lowdown. So before we get into any product stuff, and before you start to showcase any of that, I always like to start with the problem. So obviously, you all have a bunch of customers that are out there, but for either folks who are current customers or for those who are not customers, what are some problems that you all solve for folks who work in revenue operations today, right? Before anyone has used Rattle, what are those specific things, those pain points, those challenges, those things that hurt, right? Every day, every week, every month, that Rattle is kind of solving for. Let's start there.
Yeah, we have a perspective on this that there's some key challenges in being a revenue operations professional and a lot of frustrations too. And I think the big one is, a lot of RevOps teams, what they're doing is they're working with your system of record and trying to drive adherence down to the actual end users of, let's say, Salesforce. And the problem is that Salesforce doesn't tell you what to do or when to do it, or how to do it. And analytics on whether or not it's done, it's difficult to get that visibility down to the layer of where somebody can actually do something about it as well. Our point of view is that, typically you have documentation, so a process documentation lives someplace, maybe in like a Lucid chart. And all of your automations are built out in something like Salesforce. And if you have adherence, it's typically in a dashboard that lives in Salesforce, but probably just as often, it's just the kind of thing that's discussed in a one-on-one. And then, none of this ever gets down to the actual team of end users. And our perspective is that this is really frustrating. What it means is that RevOps professionals who would like to be spending time imagining how to make their process more efficient end up just serving one-off requests again and again. It's a lot of ad hoc work. And we recognize that that's incredibly frustrating. So, I mean, like imagine building out documentation for something like rolling out Medic, and you're building that out in Lucidchart, and automation is in Salesforce. But really, like getting people to action on that, it's very difficult to automate, making sure that somebody actions on like a Medic rollout. It typically will take like a manager and a one-on-one saying, okay, hey, look, this is in stage 3 and you don't have champion metrics and decision process figured out. And that typically just is a lagging indicator of success, comes up in a one-on-one meeting. So that's really the challenges we see it. And I'll explain just kind of what we do to address that, but then let's you feel free to interrupt me here. We imagine the world a little bit differently, that documentation and automation and adherence and insights are all connected. Our point of view is that adherence to your sales process, to your customer retention process, has to be in Slack or Teams. And that if you do it that way and let Rattle be the engine to drive that, then you'll always have insights on whether or not your sales process is working. And your process being connected to Salesforce and Slack will make it really actionable as well.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, tons of what teams, any go-to-market teams do today is kind of live in Slack and Teams. And so, the fact that most people are doing their work there, having the tie-in between the technology and the process makes complete sense. And so, it seems like there's a lot of, I'll say like, yeah, kind of tie-in between kind of the process and the technology that people use to go to market, right? CRM, things like that. So maybe get into some of the core use cases, because I can think of lots of things that I'll say like fall into that category, right? Like how do you tie the technology to the process and enable people to get their work done in Slack? But what are some of the big, I don't know, buckets or maybe categories that you all specifically help with or focus on? What are those key use cases?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so for us, the key use cases are going to be workflow automation, making sure that the right action is taken at the right time. So this is typically an automated workflow that drives some kind of visibility or action from the end user. Deal collaboration. We automate the process of bringing people together to win deals. And we know that we help people to win deals at least 10 to 20% more when they're doing it this way. Revenue management from the end user, both to manage their pipeline better, but then also just to remediate hygiene issues that happen in Salesforce. And then process visualization so that everything in your sales process is immediately actionable and you have insights available at the documentation layer so that somebody who's looking at your sales process actually knows where to fix it. So those are the kinds of key things. I'll go into the first one if that's helpful, just to kind of talk about, what would this mean if we're looking at our process from like a high level and how we can drive action of that down to the end user. So I want to show you Atlas first. Everything in Rattle is built on the functionality of Atlas. And really this is where your sales process comes together with automation, adherence, and insights. Now, what I'm showing you here, this is like the normal way of looking at something like this, from like pipeline generation to deal execution to customer retention. Typically, this could like live in a Google Sheet or a Lucidchart someplace. But the problem is it's not connected to Salesforce or Slack. And that's what we've solved at Rattle, is that when we have a new lead come in that gets posted in Salesforce, we actually have that immediately visible here inside of Atlas, so that somebody could say, okay, here's our inbound lead notification. And what this does is this will push a notification down into Slack. And we're giving you immediate insight into how many records where we have leads that have come in that haven't been, let's say, enrolled in a sequence. I'll show you how we can plug this gap here in a minute, but really everything that I'm going to show you today is built around how the visualization that you have on the back end here in Atlas actually drives the right behaviors inside of Slack. So let's go to this first example here where I have an inbound lead. And let's say this wasn't dispositioned correctly or it wasn't enrolled in a sequence in a certain amount of time. What would happen is that here in Slack, we would drive adherence to the sales process by saying, hey, here are all of your leads that have no activity in the last 30 days. And so that workflow that you saw in Atlas is actually pushing this here into Slack, saying, enroll this in an outreach sequence, or enroll this in a cadence someplace. Accept this lead or disqualify it. Whatever the right action is, Rattle's ensuring that with workflow automation, that you're driving that right action immediately inside of Slack.
And so on the, I guess, what comes first? Do you document first and then tie it to what you've got in your CRM? Or I imagine like me or any other RevOps folks, right? Like 99% of us probably already have, I'll say CRM and, some sort of, kind of process. Are you able to take the current setup that we have and like push it into like Atlas for documentation today, or how does that work?
Yeah, so great question. So typically organizations already have something like Atlas built out in a static fashion, right? You have your Google Sheet, and it's like stage one is these things. But typically, when you have stage one, it's typically here's what stage one looks like. Let's say we have a champion, or we've identified some pain in an opportunity, but you don't have like what happens if it sits in stage one for 30 days. And what action do you want to drive? What are the enablement resources that are tied to that? And even if you have them sort of identified in, let's say, a Google Sheet, there's no way to automate delivery of those enablement resources. There's no way to automate reminders or escalations of things. And so, typically what we do is we'll say, all right, let's look at your sales process. Where are your big initiatives right now? And we'll build that out in Atlas. And it's typically not that we build out your entire process all at once. It's that we kind of map the big contours of it and then decide where can we drive immediate remediation of the right actions as we kind of go through the customer life cycle.
Yeah. And so is that something that you all help new customers with on the kind of implementation side, then getting the initial, at least some sort of initial kind of, workflows like documented and tied in so that people could then get a good sense of all the other things that they can do?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, we started on the pre-sale side too. With all of our customers, we recommend that they do a 3-week proof of value. Just try it out and see if this will help you to have better SLAs met on your new leads, or if you can notice that there's greater collaboration on your deals. So we actually start building out the process even before signature.
Yeah, that's cool. Because I know, me and myself, I remember the back in the day, leading RevOps, BizOps, big Google Sheet that we had, all the big columns for all the different stages that spanned, like the lead, lead object, lead stages, MQL, SQL, what was definition of stage 0, or when things finally enter the pipeline. Then you had all those definitions in like the rows below it, and then go and build Salesforce that way, but totally disconnected. And then the last thing you want to do is make changes, because then you're just manually updating a whole bunch of things in a whole bunch of different places. So super painful. And so with that, I guess is since you mentioned the Atlas kind of connected to Salesforce, how does I guess we talked about like, hey, once you get some initial things down, here's how it can go. What about when you want to make edits or changes to what you see there? Do you need to make those in 2 different spots, or is it as simple as updating things in Rattle and that kind of gets pushed out to the CRM and any other tools that are there?
Yeah, great question. So I'll show you an example of this later on, but when you have a change to make, it really is from inside of Atlas. You just make the change there, and you're able to say, okay, well, I'd like this workflow to go to these recipients, or I'd like to have this call to action so that there's a button that will then update something in Salesforce. That button's delivered in Slack, update something in Salesforce, but you make all those changes just on the back end of Rattle.
Cool. Okay. All right. So we got workflow. We got workflow automation. One of the clear use cases there. So what was the second item?
The second is deal collaboration. So I mean, we know that when people work together, they win more deals. And it's not that organizations don't know how to work together. It's that typically the most important deals get people's attention. And there's a lot of stuff in the middle where there's an opportunity to drive greater collaboration. And with Rattle, we say you already have this defined in your playbook. You know when you should be having, let's say, a manager get involved, or when you should bring in an SE, or when you need to, engage somebody on the contracts team or the CPQ team or whatever. But a lot of times that doesn't happen automatically. It takes a manager having a conversation with a rep to say, hey, did you ask so-and-so to look over this proposal? And so you lose time this way. And so what Rattle does is that we have a solution called deal rooms, which is by far and away the most popular thing that we do. And what Rattle will do is it will say, okay, let's say you're at stage 2 in your sales cycle, and a deal is above a certain dollar amount. Let's automatically create a channel inside of Slack, and we'll add the right people to the channel. So here inside of Slack, you can see we have a deal room channel that's been created for an opportunity, and 2 people are added right at the beginning, and that happens automatically through Rattle. But then all those workflows, things like a deal's been stuck in stage, or you have a call that's about to happen, we deliver those into the deal room so that somebody who comes into this deal room later on has a lot of context over what's happened on this project. And so, we have the demo coming up. We serve up a link to the latest demo deck so that somebody doesn't have to hunt around for the latest and greatest enablement resources. They're prompted to log their call notes, and they can do that right here from Slack, push the call notes back into Salesforce. And then when the deal goes through a change, let's say it moves to stage 3, we bring in somebody from the operations team or whoever needs to be automatically added. Rattle will automatically add them. By the way, if somebody needs to be automatically removed, or if we win this deal, we'll rename it to, let's say, customer room. If it's closed lost, we'll archive it so that if this prospect comes around again in the future, you have this whole opportunity history that somebody could reference. And all the normal collaboration that would happen in like one-off DMs is pushed into the deal room so that, again, you have that great opportunity history. If a competitor is mentioned, we'll drop in the battle card automatically. No one has to search for that. If this deal's been stuck in a certain stage for a certain amount of time, we can say, all right, let's bring in, the right person who can help us to push this forward, deliver that discovery guide. Or in this case, maybe somebody just forgot to push this into stage 5. They could click update Salesforce and say, okay, yeah, I actually meant to push this into stage 5. I just forgot, which of course, never happens for a RevOps person that somebody just forgot something. For this AE, they can just say, I want to push this into stage 5, and that will automatically push that data point back into Salesforce.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So yeah, it makes I can see how it easily makes collaborating with others on the team super easy in an automated way too, where you're not having to tell yourself like, oh, okay, like I've got to spin up a shared Slack channel. I've got to invite these people from my team so that we can talk about things. And then on the sales side, for again, account executives or folks who are working the deal, super easy to basically get their hands on things that'll help them sell, close the deal faster and better, right? Just deliver a better quality kind of sales experience.
Mm-hmm.
So makes sense. How much of that is I guess like off the shelf in the product versus like folks needing to configure or kind of set up? Like you mentioned, like there are things like battle card, like call notes, stuff like that might be kind of specific, obviously, to company to company. So is it pretty easy to like configure the things that you want on that, or does that all tie back to maybe the like the Atlas stuff that we were looking at before?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, we have a whole set of templates that are basically what we've learned from our customers. We know what good looks like on how to drive a better like lead to opportunity process, how to do better customer retention, how to drive a better opportunity cycle. And those templates are basically like select a template, change out the criteria to match your organization, and you're up and going in minutes. I mean, really setting up Rattle, it takes minutes, not even hours or days.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we got through kind of process automation. We got through deal collaboration. What was the third big kind of use case?
Well, yeah, but actually, before I do that, I want to talk about another part of deal collaboration that we do, and this is something called meeting intelligence. So a big part of collaboration is making sure that people are updated with what happened on important meetings. But it's impossible for a sales manager to join every call. For even your largest opportunities, for a CRO to know exactly what's happening on all of those at all times. And so what Rattle does is we've taken an integration with call recording like Chorus or Zoom or Gong, and we'll go and grab the transcript of every call that happens, and we'll execute against that transcript a set of custom AI prompts, and then post up a summary of the meeting into the deal room. And so I'll show you here, you can see here, once this gets into stage 4, we want to start seeing meeting intelligence summaries posting into the deal room. And so here inside of Slack, we had a call with this customer, and Rattle's gone and it's processed that transcript from this, in this case, Gong. And it's given a quick meeting summary, minutes, so that, let's say, pricing was discussed at a certain point. The CRO can go and just listen to the pricing conversation and find the snippet to the call recording. And then for the end user, Rattle will listen for whatever you want it to listen for. So let's say that you want it to listen for those key medic fields. Or here at Rattle, we use spiced. And so we can say, all right, here's what Rattle was listening for. Do you, account executive, do you want to update any of these fields? Here's what Rattle heard and posted in here as a potential, for some of these field values. What do you want to make these? They can make the updates and then push these back into Salesforce as well.
Yep. Nice. Yeah, that's very cool. I know that's one of there's so much context and kind of value in those calls, and it's super hard. Like you said, one, you obviously can't be on every meeting. 2, you can't always you can't even listen to the recordings after the fact. And 3, that kind of leaves you with a lot of times asking your team for updates, or like, oh, hey, what happened in that call with so-and-so, right? Which no one likes to ask those questions. Especially no one likes to answer those questions. And so, yeah, being able to provide some, kind of contextual intelligence on that, super, super valuable. Nice.
Yeah, and getting back to your question about the third thing, the kind of third pillar for us, it's revenue management. And so, our point of view is that, from a RevOps perspective, a lot of folks feel really frustrated by always trying to drive compliance. And that's your job, right? If you're a RevOps professional, that's kind of what you signed up for. But what you want to do is actually make it easier for people to sell. That's the real goal here. How can I make people more successful in their jobs so that our tool and our process is actually giving us a competitive advantage? And so with Rattle, we have a couple of products that we built for this. One, a single pane of glass that we call Board, to edit all of your opportunities and accounts on the fly. Just a really easy way to keep everything up to date. But then also a really easy way for the end user to fix hygiene issues that we call digest. And I'll show you what these look like here in Rattle. So you can see here, I could get a notification inside of Slack that would say, hey, on a weekly basis, you have to submit your forecast. So go to Board, click on that link. It would take me to this page here, and I can edit all of my opportunities that are closing this quarter. But what's really helpful about this for me too is that, let's say I wanted to update a close date, say, hey, actually, this is going to be the end of this week. You can see this spinning up here. This is updating Salesforce in real time, just pushing that data point back into Salesforce. But then I can also say, hey, I wanted to do some account planning with my SDR. And I could build my own boards with by looking at my accounts, and we support custom objects as well as standard for these kinds of things. I can rearrange my columns. I can create new ones and share them with other people. And honestly, this is a big time save. We hear people saying this saves their account executives 1 to 2 hours a week. Yeah. But it's in and of itself, this is actually not super revolutionary. This kind of technology has existed for a minute. But what is revolutionary is that if I can use that same interface to drive remediation of hygiene issues. So back to the RevOps professional, you can actually send out what we call digest, which is a single place for somebody to see all of their records that are out of compliance. So you can see here I have some close dates in the past. Maybe I'm missing some notes here. I don't have a next step in a couple fields here. And as I update these fields in digest, I'll actually bring this down from 7 records to inbox 0. And it allows me to just immediately take care of everything that's hygiene related. so that you're not always chasing down data. Digest is actually delivering up for the end user, hey, once a week, just go and fix these things. But while you're doing that, you're offering them an easy place to edit all their opportunities as well with Board.
Yeah. Yeah, so no need for folks to have the like the clean your room dashboard in Salesforce that they need to look at like every week and then ping people to go and update opportunities and everything else, and then that inevitably doesn't get done, and then those same things are there next week, and then we repeat that vicious cycle. You eliminate the need for that and essentially automate the way to, one, get the right things that need updates in front of the right people, and then two, actually make it easy for them to make the updates and get things back in compliance.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, and our hope too is that what this allows the RevOps professional to do is to like think back towards like the bigger perspective of like, okay, how can I like make our process a competitive advantage again, as opposed to just hunting down micro bits of data. How can I come back to, let's say, something like Atlas and say, all right, let's look at the whole process again. What can we make work better for our teams? What will actually make us more competitive, you know? And so you could look at Atlas here and say, all right, from a visualization perspective, now that like I'm on the road to solving some of these hygiene issues, where are my actual gaps? And you could say, hey, you know what? Maybe there's more value that we could drive here in the legal and negotiation stage, right? And one thing that's really cool about Atlas too is that as you're visualizing your whole process, you're going to find problems. Again, you know, I come back to, you know, one of these earlier examples here. We have these inbound demo leads where people aren't actioning on these. They're not enrolling them in those sequences. Well, what's cool about this, because we're tied into Salesforce and Slack, I can see what these records are, who owns them. And I can see Cole here, he owns 10 of these. And right here from Atlas, I can plug this gap by sending him a moment in time alert. Say, hey, Cole, like I just noticed while I was working on other stuff, got to fix this. Send him that alert, and he's able to fix that in Slack. And then I'm going to bring you into something that we're building out right now, is that we actually will be able to trend on this data as well. So you can see that you're actually getting fewer and fewer of these hygiene alerts over time, and really be able to see the value that the RevOps organization is providing for your teams.
Yeah. Yeah, because ultimately at the end of the day, again, you don't want, or you know that stuff like that is gonna happen, pop up, right? Nobody's perfect, but you at least want to see that you're moving things in the right direction, and again, like diagnose where the issue is and focus on correcting things, fixing things, rather than focused on figuring out where the problem is in the first place.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Cool. All right, so we've got kind of automation, we've got deal collaboration, we talked about you know, kind of alerts and AI call summaries. I think there was a fourth bucket.
Yeah, the fourth one is process visualization, just from a high level. So it really is that, like, thinking about Atlas from a high level perspective. But then one thing I'd add into that process visualization is analytics. We need to make data actionable. And you saw that when I sent that moment in time alert from Atlas just a moment ago. But how do I look at all of my workflows and think about where do we have noise that I need to limit? And where do we have value that we need to double down on? Again, we want your sales process to be a competitive advantage. So here in analytics, in the back end of Rattle, you can see everything that you're sending out. So here's all the alerts that we've sent. And here's all the engagement that we're driving. Now, the difference between these two numbers might actually be kind of important, because if you're driving visibility of key things in your sales cycle, you might have an alert that goes out to 3 people, but only 1 person needs to take action. And so you're able to see, okay, yeah, we want to have engagement at about this level. But then, you know, from workflow to workflow, we'll tell you which ones have low engagement. And maybe that's just noise that you need to provide better training on, or just cut out of the cycle, make it a little bit less noisy. So for example, here we can see with workflows, we have when somebody comes to our website and they download an ebook, we're doing a really good job of following up with that. But, you know, when we have this upcoming task, we have 19,000 of these alerts that have been sent, and no one's engaged with that, probably time just to turn that off, right? But then even for your end users too, not everybody is a hygiene problem. And it's helpful to know, hey, who's doing a great job here? You know, like Elise here, she's she's following up with a lot of what's sent to her and is really driving a lot of value in her part of the organization. But Rhea, maybe she needs a little bit of extra handholding or a little intervention from her manager. And this makes it so that you're getting data-driven insights on where the RevOps process is actually driving value in the cycle and helping you to see where you can, imagine new ways to add value in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's because I think, we've all heard the complaint about, Slack being too noisy or, like so many alerts, people getting overloaded. And I think, again, the purpose of like any sort of Rattle alert is not to like just ping someone and be like, hey, you need to do a thing. But it's like, hey, you need to do a thing. Here is also a way, like a button to click to do the thing, and to either correct an issue, follow up, whatever it is that you need. And then you also want to see, like you said, effectiveness of the things that you have set up, because like I said before, no one wants to be adding more noise, and so that's a great way to make sure that the stuff you're pushing out there is relevant and useful.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's actually a key part of what we're doing is helping to drive better use of Slack. Just by auto creating channels, auto archiving them so that they get out of the way, and then making sure that you're driving the right action just to the right place, whether it's a direct message, a group message, or a channel. Rattle's giving you a lot of data to determine where does the flow of work actually need to go so that you can be more effective in your sales process.
Yeah, that's great. So I guess a couple of questions on, well, I guess first, before I start asking some product specific stuff, is who's typically a good fit for the Rattle product? I guess, one, do you have any examples of like, current customers, companies that you can share? And then two, we talked through problems already, but any I don't know, are there any, I'll say, like requirements or any characteristics that make certain folks a good fit for the Rattle product, either in terms of like, hey, if your sales team is this big, if your company is this big, if you're in this industry or this vertical, anything that indicates someone might be a good fit?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is, are you using Salesforce? Are you using Slack or Teams? And typically what we find is that it's an organization where it's not desirable or even feasible to build out more code-driven automations that you want to, either for the sake of like, the load on your systems or just the load on your teams. You don't want to have somebody who builds a lot of Apex code. Rattle, we find that we work really well with organizations where you have a team of Salesforce admins who are not coding all the time. They're trying to solve business problems, and they need a workflow solution that's just like simple natural language logic builders. And so that's who we tend to appeal to, is like a RevOps professional who just wants to be able to like plug a gap really easily.
Yeah.
And in terms of industries, I mean, really kind of all over the gamut, although we find that a lot of SaaS organizations really benefit from Rattle. A lot of like fintech organizations or like health services, those kinds of things, where you want to use Salesforce data to drive action from an end user. That's typically where we find the best fit.
Yeah. And so I heard you say, obviously, like, Salesforce integration, Slack integration, Teams integration. I guess any other CRM integrations or tool integrations that y'all have? I'm thinking things like HubSpot, Outreach, Marketo, Pardot, like any other kind of key integrations that you have, and specifically too, like any that you don't, right? Like any, maybe popular ones or ones that do come up that you don't service or you can't service today.
Yeah, we don't support HubSpot today, although that's absolutely on our roadmap to support HubSpot. So that's something that we're very interested in as an organization. But yes, so Google Calendar, like taking a calendar invite and be able to drive like a meeting DM and an auto contact creation from the calendar event. For Gong, Zoom, Chorus for that those meeting intelligence summaries. Outreach, so that you can just with a single click enroll somebody into a sequence when they're a new lead. Zendesk and Gainsight, for the various problems that they solve, and driving visibility of key like tickets or customer health related issues inside of Slack as well. Those are the big ones that we support today. But I would say for things like Pardot and Marketo or like Zoom Info, a lot of what people do if they're using Salesforce the way that they really desire to is that they're having data points update inside of Salesforce so that if, like, let's say an intent score gets above a certain threshold, well, we want to notify the account team immediately. So when that score changes in Salesforce, we'll push that down into Slack.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. Do you find yourself integrating, or do you integrate with anything like data warehouse or product, like product data at all that may not live in the CRM? Are there any use cases there?
No, we don't integrate with anything else that would be like a a direct integration with like product or data warehouse. However, again, a lot of times your product usage is going to push back into Salesforce as like a DBU score or something like that, or like a health score, whatever it is. Like you have something that shows up in a Salesforce record, and that's what we would action on today.
That makes sense. And then give us some handful of names or kind of impressive kind of logos customers. I know you got a bunch of them, but who are some of the who are some of the ones that we might recognize that are currently on Rattle today?
Yeah, well, I think that the first one that I always think of that just makes me so happy is Gong. Gong uses deal rooms, and they've driven their win rate up by 10% with just automating that collaboration. I think about a company like MoveWorks, where they decreased their deals stuck in stage, so like their stuck deals, by 75%. That's one that we're really excited about as well. Just kind of decreasing that, increasing visibility towards like for executives over like the deals that are slipping. That's one that like Olive has decreased their sales cycle time by 23% just by getting better visibility. But then customers like Figma and Docebo are kind of more recent additions to our clientele that we're really proud of as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, Gong and Figma are no jokes. They know what they're doing on the sales and go-to-market side. So yeah, the fact that they've also chosen you all as a customer to help them do things better, I think speaks volumes. And so we talked about kind of some integrations, some key customers, stuff like that. What about like implementation or getting started? Is it well, I guess first thing on that, is there any sort of you mentioned proof of value already? Is there any sort of like self-serve or like free trial, or like if someone wanted to give kind of Rattle a try, do they need to kind of talk to a salesperson on your team? What's the way that people can kind of get started and see if it's a good fit for them?
Yeah, that's exactly a free trial. You can go to gorattle.com and get on a free trial in minutes. And when you sign up for a free trial, you'll be brought to a page like this, and you'll just be led to configure your Salesforce integration. It's a one-click OAuth integration. Same thing with Slack or anything else you wanted to integrate to. You have access to the full product suite, and you're able to try it out and just make sure that it's going to do what you want it to do.
Nice. And so, and then obviously you mentioned like all those templates and stuff come in the free trial as well. So that kind of answers what my next question was going to be on kind of implementation and how quick someone can get started. It's basically how fast can you get to the website, sign up, and kind of click some buttons to get some things integrated. And then when it comes to I'll say like ROI and kind of pricing, first on the ROI side, how do most people, I guess, define value? You mentioned some of this stuff before, right? Increasing win rates, decreasing deals stuck in stage, saving time. I mean, so it kind of comes down to like the classic, like, hey, you'll drive more revenue more quickly, and you'll save some dollars on kind of overhead or cost. Is anything you want to add to that, or am I thinking about that right in terms of how people define value of the Rattle product?
Yeah, great question. And this often is a matter of what are your initiatives? What are you trying to drive right now? And so if you have like a medic initiative, well, let's make it so that when somebody has a deal in stage 2, that they're prompted to update medic immediately from inside of Slack for whatever is required at stage 2. For a lot of our customers, everybody's focused on doing more with less right now. So how can we say for all of our existing customers, how can we ensure that we're setting up those renewal opportunities ahead of time, that we don't get to like 30 days before a renewal and then all of a sudden we're creating that renewal op? Well, what if we just made it so that the CSM got that notification 90 days in advance of the renewal, and they're prompted to create that renewal op right from Slack, and they can do that right there inside of Slack, create an opportunity for that customer renewal, and then provide all the right visibility around, hey, there's a new renewal opportunity and it's for this customer, and and the right people get pinged for that. So it really is depending on what you're trying to drive. But yes, you're right. Can we actually help you to win more? And that's exactly what we've proven out again and again, that people are saving hours a week, for an account executive saving 1 to 2 hours a week on data entry, which they hate to do. And I do too. Even as a solution engineer, I never go into Salesforce anymore because I get all of my alerts inside of Slack, and I just log my call notes, change the couple fields that I need to change, and I'm done. And so saving that kind of time, shortening those deal cycles. And then, like I was talking about at the top of our call, the big deals get attention. What about those deals that get forgotten? We're driving it so that those deals are not they're not just pipeline mascots anymore. You're able to actually say, hey, I want to make sure that if this has been stuck in stage 4 for this many days, that we have this follow-up that we're following. And the end user never has to wonder, what's the next step? Rattle's always telling them what the next step is based on what your sales process is.
Yeah, that's great. And then once someone, say, like, gets through a free trial, is ready to kind of fully commit, what does pricing typically look like, either in terms of how you guys charge, what you charge, what should people be thinking about there?
Yeah, so I mean, it's really simple. It's by user, and a user is really just somebody who's interacting with a Rattle alert by clicking on a button, or using a board. And so yeah, it's pretty simple, per user per month. We have meeting intelligence as well. Our base price is $39 per user per month, and we have a platform fee that's just kind of a once annual platform fee of $5,000.
Cool, makes sense. And then I think you answered what my last question was going to be as well, which was kind of how folks can get in touch or give it a try. It sounds like free trial at the website, gorattle.com. So maybe actually the last thing I'll ask you then, Ike, is as we wrap up, is like, what's the one key differentiator that sets Rattle apart from other competitors, right? Like the fact, like the native like Salesforce solution that they have now, because like they own Slack and it took them how many years to actually like do anything with that, or just like setting stuff up in Zapier, or doing the old like manual process of like you said, Lucidchart, Google Sheet, not tied to Salesforce. Like, obviously, like, different options out there, right, that folks can use to try to solve some of those problems we talked about up front. But what's the, like, just one thing, right? Like, I'm sure there's a bunch, but like, what's the one thing that's at the top of your list for what sets Rattle apart from any competitors that might be out there, manual or product competitors?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the biggest thing is that for everything you just described, you'd have to have a point solution for every little thing. You'd have to have, like, let's say, a scratch pad for board. You'd have to have, maybe somebody who's building alerts inside of Zapier who knows how to code. And maybe you'd need to have, some other kind of engine to drive other behaviors, like a Lucidchart that documents everything. For us, what we're saying is that we're going to make all of this stuff in a single bundle, so you can see all of this value in a single place. And no one does digest. No one does this, where you're actually delivering up a single place to remediate all hygiene issues all at once. And so, yeah, I mean, there are other ways to do it, but they're typically, got to build the code, or you got to, daisy chain 3 or 4 different systems together.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you, Ike, for kind of walking us through everything, and showcasing the Rattle product is awesome. Like, product is awesome, brand is awesome. I can totally see how it solves a lot of problems for RevOps folks. I'll be one of the folks out there anxiously awaiting your HubSpot integration as well. So put me down on that list once you get there. But yeah, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you kind of giving us the lowdown on all things Rattle today. But with that, I'll let you run. I'll see you on the flip side, and thanks everybody for tuning in as well.